साथियों नमस्कार। क्लासिकल ग्रुप्स और रिप्रेजेंटेशन थ्योरी के सेमिनार में आप सभी का स्वागत है। पिछले 2 बार से कुछ इंटरनेट कनेक्शन की वजह से इस सेमिनार को हम आयोजित नहीं कर पाए और 2 हफ्ते पहले 17 तारीख को हुर्विट्ज थ्योरम पर बातचीत हुई, लेकिन फिर हम सब इकट्ठा हुए हैं और फिर से इस श्रृंखला को कंटिन्यू करेंगे। तो हम सर से ही अनुरोध करते हैं कि शुरू करें और हम सबको कुछ सिखाएं। सर।
Thank you, Swapnil. So, good afternoon to all of you. And you see, today we are bidding farewell to 2021 and preparing ourselves to welcome New Year 2022. So, very happy New Year. Wishing you all good health and achievements, full of achievements. Let the year be full of achievements and we all be in good spirit and so on. So now this time I could get some time, so I could write some notes here. So indeed, these lecture notes on classical groups, more or less, I'm trying to write down also. So I have written something. So I'll just share with you. So I'll use both medium to give lectures. So I have shared here. So basically, before that, we introduced all these symplectic groups, etc. I have written all these notes and will be sent to you through Swapnil. About the relationship, and so I have made everything so formal, and you may see it through these notes. And if you have any query, you can ask. So I may give some exercises also here. So so now let me start with the Lorentz group. Before that, let me start with the Lorentz group and its geometry from today. So let me recall the unique non-degenerate real symmetric bilinear form we have already seen of signature N1. So N for positive and 1 is the negative thing. So signature is N1. So the corresponding form phi will be given by phi xy is equal to minus x1 y1 plus x2 y2 plus x3 y3 plus xn plus 1 yn plus 1, where x bar is a vector x1 x2 xn plus 1, y bar is a vector y1 y2 yn plus 1, and this is also equal to x bar in matrix form, x bar j1n y bar transpose. So where what is j1n? J1n is the matrix, diagonal matrix minus 1 1 1 1 in the diagonal. So this is the diagonal matrix, and so this is equal to this matrix. And we have seen the Sylvester's law of inertia that there is a unique up to congruence. There is a unique such form, and every form is congruent to such a form. So we can just take this that form. So this binary form is denoted by the Lorentz form, as we have already seen. So I'm repeating those things. And it is called the Lorentz form or Lorentz inner product also. Though it is not inner product in the usual sense of Euclidean inner product, it's not positive definite, but still we, the literature, we also call it this to be any non-degenerate symmetric bilinear form is also termed as inner product. So this is a Lorentz inner product. So thus this XYL is equal to, so we are using this notation XYL to say that it's a Lorentz inner product, and we shall use XYE, subscript E, for the Euclidean inner product. So XYL is minus x1 y1 plus x2 y2 plus x3 y3 plus xn plus 1 yn plus 1, which is this thing. Further, XYL can also be expressed. The relationship of the Lorentz inner product with the Euclidean inner product is given over here. XY, the Lorentz inner product of x and y. You take x bar j1n multiply with the J1n. So this simply reflects, this J1n is a reflection about x1 equal to 0. J1n is a matrix which represents a reflection about x1 equal to 0. So x1 goes to minus x1. That is the reflection matrix. So x bar J1n y bar inner product. So minus x1. If you put minus x1, x2, xn, and take the inner product with y1, y2, yn plus 1. So you'll be getting this thing. So this is the minus x1, y1, and this part x2, y2 plus x3, y3 plus xn plus yn plus 1. I'm putting in this form. Euclidean. This is the Euclidean inner product of x2, x2, xn plus 1, y2, yn plus 1, and so x2, x3, xn plus 1 is just x bar p, where p is a n plus 1 cross n matrix, whose first row is 0, 0, 0, and then followed by identity matrix. So this is n plus 1 cross n matrix, and if you multiply by x bar, you will be getting x2, xn, multiply by y bar, you will be getting y2, yn plus 1. So this is the Euclidean inner product. So this is the relationship. Where this is the Euclidean inner product, and p bar is the projection operator, as I have explained. With the, so the space Rn plus 1 with the above Lorentz form is denoted by R1n. We shall usually denote by this as a vector space. It is the same as Rn n plus 1, but just to emphasize the geometry part, we put it 1n. So 1 is the negative part. This is a form of signature n1. So, and it is called a Lorentz space. Rn plus 1 with this is called the Lorentz space. So just note, you are already familiar. You have come across with the relativity theory, where an event space is what? X, Y, Z, T. Any event in space is determined by its space coordinate together with time. So this is R4. This can be represented by R4. Usually space, the Euclidean space can be represented by T coordinates X, Y, Z. But the event space has another extra coordinate, that is time. At any point, at any point, the space and the time, you have the event is completely determined at that point. So that is the event space, and in this event space, you know, this is you have such a form, which is what is called the usually in the relativity theory Lorentz form, and which is very much useful in relativity theory. Maybe we may talk sometimes later. So the group O1n here is the group of those matrices which keeps this form invariant. This is a group, this is a non-degenerate form, and we have already observed that if you are given any non-degenerate form, then the matrices or the transformations which keep that form invariant form a group, subgroup of the general linear group, and that is here in this case we denote it by A1n. So what is this? This is A belonging to GLN plus 1R, such that the inner product, Lorentz inner product is invariant. So that is this brackets, yes, for every xy belonging to this, of n plus 1 plus n plus 1 matrices, keeping this form invariant is called Lorentz group. This is what is called a Lorentz group. Thus O1n is the group of matrices A belonging to MNR, such that A J1n A transpose is equal to J1n. It keeps this matrix J1n, the reflection matrix, invariant. That is the this Lorentz. So this forms a group, a subgroup of GLNR, and this is what is called Lorentz group. Again, a determinant defines a surjective homomorphism from O1n to Z2, 1 minus 1, Z2. So determinant of any matrix which satisfies this property, you see, you take determinant of J1n is minus 1. Determinant of J1n is minus 1, 1, 1, 1, so minus 1. So determinant of A into determinant A transpose is minus 1, so that is 1. So that means determinant A is plus 1 or minus 1, as in case of orthogonal group. So the kernel of the determinant is what is called the special Lorentz group. You have have a exact sequence, split exact sequence. Indeed, we have a split exact sequence here. Indeed, you can take -1 here and map it to -1, 1, 1, 1, which is J1 n itself. So this J1 n, the -1 goes to J1 n here, is a splitting. You can easily see that that is a splitting, and this is a split exact sequence. So O1n is indeed semi-direct product of SO1n and Z2. And indeed, to study the geometry, it is a SO1. This is not connected group. This is not a connected group. There are two components. No, determinant is 1 and -1. So it is SO1n is the group which is more important, and we will discuss about it. And the structure of O1n in terms of SO1n Z2 is very clear. So that is the group. So this is what is called a special Lorentz group. Now consider, for example, SO11. What is this SO11? So SO11 is the set of those matrices A belonging to A belongs to SO1n if and only if this is J1 here. This is J11. So A B C D J11 A B C D it transpose is -1 1. And if you see, and let us put the determinant to be 1 also here. So AD minus BC is 1, and this identity is equivalent to say that minus A square. You just equate the here, you get minus A square plus B square is equal to -1 and minus C. So you see, if you remember earlier, we had this the Lorentz orthonormal, the Rose form a Lorentz orthonormal set. So that is what it is reflecting here. Minus A square plus B square is -1, minus C square plus D square -1. Indeed, minus A square plus C square is also 1, -1, and minus B square plus. So this is this, and AC minus BD, AD minus BC is 1 here. So you see here that if you put A is equal to cos X, then B will be equal to sin X. And using the above equations, we can conclude that D is cos hyperbolic X, cos hyperbolic square X minus sin hyperbolic square X is -1. You know, cos hyperbolic X is e to the power X plus e to the power minus X upon 2. This hyperbolic function you already know, e to the power X plus e to the power minus X by 2 is cos hyperbolic X, and sin hyperbolic X is e to the power X minus e to the power minus X upon 2. So this is, if you put this A to be cos hyperbolic X, B will be sin hyperbolic X, and using those above identities, you can see that A is of this form. So determinant is cos hyperbolic square X minus sin hyperbolic square X. So इसमें relation जो होता है cos hyperbolic square X minus sin hyperbolic square is 1. So there is a hyperbolic trigonometry involved with this, and indeed X represents the hyperbolic angle, as we shall see. So this is cos hyperbolic X, perhaps the name comes from there itself. So cos hyperbolic X, sin hyperbolic X, and if A is if A is positive, you know, for any you have this cos hyperbolic X because A square is greater A is greater than or equal to 1. You can easily see A square minus B square is 1. A square minus B square is 1. And if A is less than 0, then minus identity to A is also a member of SO1n. You can see minus identity to A is also a member of it, with the first row, first column entry positive. So as above, minus identity to A will be equal to cos hyperbolic this thing, and then if you multiply, A will turn out to be minus cos hyperbolic X minus sin hyperbolic X minus sin hyperbolic X minus cos hyperbolic X. So in any case, A is either this or minus. So A is this. So SO1 is a group of this form. So just see that SO1 is this group. So if you remember it, the analogy with the circle group, it is something like that: cos hyperbolic, cos X, sin X, cos X. So it has the same analogy here. To study the properties of special Lorentz group, we further discuss the geometry of Lorentz inner product. So इस property भी हम जानना चाहते हैं, and then you want to see how the geometry it is, what is the space of which this is the isometry group. I mean, of which it is the isometry group. Which space is determined by this SO1n. So that is what we want to see. So we further discuss the geometry of the Lorentz inner product for a vector x. ये हम already कर चुके हैं, लेकिन फिर हम अब थोड़ा और explicitly यहाँ पे हम systematically do. So for a vector x belong to R1n, this given by this is given by this. We denote this by this. This is x L square is going to x is called the Lorentz norm of x. So square root of this. So square root of this is what is called norm. So I'll make it clear a little bit here. There is some ambiguity here, so I'll make it clear. It's called the Lorentz norm of x. Unlike Euclidean norm, Lorentz norm of a vector space need not be positive or even a real number, because this, you know, xx, you remember xx is what? Xx is minus x1 square minus x1 square plus this is the form. So minus x1 square plus x2 square plus x3 square plus xn plus 1 square. So if x1 becomes large enough, then this may become negative also. So xl square here may be negative, maybe 0 also. If x1 square is equal to you know, x1 etc., it may become negative, it may become 0 also, and it may become negative also. So therefore, if you take a square root, that may be purely imaginary. So usually this means the purely imaginary part if it is negative, but I'm taking the positive imaginary part. And if it is positive, then we take the positive part of it. So positive square root. So all the time we are taking positive square root. And if it is 0, then it is 0. So this is the Lorentz norm, which we call. So unlike Euclidean norm, Lorentz norm of a vector need not be positive or even a real number square. This need not be positive, or this may not be even real number. There are 3 cases. Either this is 0. So in this, for example, if you take 1, 1, so 1 square minus 1 square plus 1 square is 0. So this is this satisfies this condition, though the vector is not 0. And so this is, in this case, x1 square is equal to this, and which is equal to you know, this thing. X1 square is the inner product, the norm of the projection x2 xn. So such a vector is called a light-like vector. And here you see the analogy with the relativity theory is that x1 usually represents the time coordinate. So x1 is usually parameterized as c times t, where c is the velocity of light, the first signal. So in that case, c square t square is equal to this. Simply means that it is the, you are if you want to see the space, it is the light-like. I mean, you have to move with the velocity of light. So that is the light-like vectors, we call it. Thus the subset LC of Rn plus consisting of light-like vector is a cone. It will be a cone. So if you just see the equation here, this represents a cone in three dimensions. For example, you see x square is equal to y square plus z square. This is right. So it's a cone. You know, both sides. So such vectors are called light vectors, and this is a cone, and this is what is called light cone. And if you look at to the case when xl square is less than 0, for example, here 1, 0 is this. In this case, x1 square is greater than or equal to x2 square. Such vectors are called time-like vectors. These are the vectors, these are the coordinates which you can perhaps approach with the velocity of light if you take here x1 is equal to ct. Indeed, we have normalized usually here in the sometimes while doing geometry, the velocity of light is also normalized to 1, c equal to 1. So such vectors are called time-like vectors. If further x1 is greater than 0, then x bar is called a positive time-like vector, and if x1 is less than 0, then we say that it is a negative time-like vector. So why we are doing this to be clear here. So in this case, this is purely imaginary. The positive imaginary part of this will be denoted by this positive purely imaginary part. So it's a purely, it is negative. So square root xl square is negative. So this is imaginary, purely imaginary. So imaginary will have positive or negative thing. So we're taking positive part. So this is what is called Lorentz norm. And if xl square is greater than 0, For example, 0, 1, in this case, this is less than. So such vectors are called space-like vectors. Perhaps you cannot approach those spaces. So that is space-like vectors. A pair XY of vectors in R1 is said to be Lorentz orthogonal. Just as in case of a region case, this the inner product is 0. So for example, 1, 2, 2, 1 are Lorentz orthogonal. Note that 1, 1 is Lorentz orthogonal to itself. It's like thing. So it's a Lorentz orthogonal to itself. So 1, 2 and 2, 1. So 2 into 1 minus 2 into 1 is 0. So therefore it's a Lorentz orthogonal. And then this is also something which you have already done. So I'm more or less repeating this thing, but maybe it may become more. So let X bar be a time like vector, and suppose Y bar is a Lorentz orthogonal to this, then Y bar is a space-like vector. Space-like vector means YY will be greater than 0. So that is this thing. So suppose X bar is the time-like and XY is equal to 0, where Y bar is this. Then X1 square is greater because this is time-like, you see. So then X1 square minus X1 square plus this square is negative, is minus 1. So that means X1 square is greater than this. And X1 Y1 is equal to this because this is the 0. This is 0. X1 Y1 is 0. In turn, using the Cauchy inequality, you see that Y1 square is what? Y1 is X1 to the power minus 2, and this inner product is square. And this, you know, is less than or equal to by using your Cauchy inequality. This is the Euclidean inner product. This is a vector. So this is a Euclidean inner product. And you know the Cauchy inequality between the Euclidean inner product. So this is X1 to the power minus 2, X to the power B, Y to the power this thing, and X1 inverse this thing is less than or equal to mod, यहाँ पे छूट गया है, is equal to is less than this. So that is the, so this shows that Y bar is a space-like vector. Y1 square is less than Y bar P. यहाँ पे norm छूट गया है, नॉर्म ऑफ ई स्क्वायर होना चाहिए, 2 नॉर्म होना चाहिए था, हम गलती कर दिए हैं. तो ये वाई बार पी स्क्वायर ये तो कैंसिल हो गया, यहाँ पे norm था, if you remember, X bar P here. So therefore this is this thing. So this shows that Y bar is a space-like vector. And now let me say an orthonormal ordered basis X1 bar Xn plus 1 bar of is called a Lorentz orthogonal basis, orthonormal basis. If this is one of them is time-like, X1 L is minus 1. For example, E1 L is minus 1. One has to be minus 1 here, time-like, and the rest of them Xi Xj is L is 0 for I different from 0, and Xi L is 1 for I equal I different from 1. You see, X2, Xn plus 1, they are all Lorentz orthogonal to X1. And if X1 is time-like, they are space-like. And once they are space-like, their Lorentz inner product square will be 1 because they are space-like. So if you normalize them, then that becomes 1 for I different from 1. Since this is equal to 0 for all Xi is a space-like vector. So thus the standard basis, this is Lorentz orthonormal. It is a Lorentz orthonormal. You see the Lorentz inner product E1 is minus 1, and it is orthogonal to this thing. So the matrix, a matrix A in O1 is in O1n if and only if the rows and columns of A form a Lorentz orthonormal basis. Just as in case of orthogonal group, a member is an orthogonal matrix and a matrix is an orthogonal matrix if all the rows are orthonormal basis with respect to the Euclidean inner product. Now here it is with respect to Lorentz inner product, that is the Lorentz orthonormal basis, which is very clear. Just see, so A be a n plus 1 plus n plus 1 matrix with Ri bar as a ith row, then ith row and jth column of this is what? A is Ri is a row and rows, and J1n is minus 1, etc., and A transpose is here. So ith row jth column, so A transpose का जो row होगा वहाँ पे column में बदल जाएगा. So then if you just multiply ith row and jth column here, that will be Ri Rj L here, because this J1N is your L here. So thus this is equal to J1N means what? The first coordinate, the first one should be -1. If I know the rows form an orthogonal, it's very clear from this equation that the R1 inner product, Lorentz inner product is -1, and the rest of the rest of them are 1, and Rj is 0 for I different from J. That is the equation which you can see from here. So if and only if this is there. So further, the columns of A are the rows of A transpose, right, further the columns of A are the rows of this A transpose. So column को हम row में convert कर दी हैं, and then A J1 transpose is if and only if A transpose this is equal to AJ1. That is very clear here. If you take the A, so this means A belongs to A1N if and only if A transpose. You see, I hope you are clear about this. This is equal to this if and only if this. What does it mean? This means that AJ IN is equal to and you multiply J1N here. You multiply J1N here. J1N is -1, 1, 1. So J1N square is identity. So if you multiply J1N here, and J1N is symmetric. So this is a transpose of this, which is your 1. So that will simply mean that A transpose J1N is really inverse of this. तो अगर उसको इस इक्वेशन को लिखेंगे तो देखेंगे कि ये इक्वेशन भी सेटिस्फाइड है. So that means O1N is closed under taking the transpose. A इनवर्स के अंदर तो क्लोज भी है और ट्रांसपोज के अंदर भी क्लोज्ड है यहाँ पे. So if and only if A transpose, thus A belongs to O1N if and only if columns of A transpose belongs to O1N. In other words, the columns form a Lorentz orthogonal. So that is very clear from the above observation. So let TL denote the set of. So now I'm coming to the space which are where we can communicate kind of thing, the time-like spaces, time-like vectors. So let TL denote the set of all time-like vectors. Evidently TL is disconnected. TL क्या है? -x1 square plus x2 square plus xn plus 1 square is equal to -1. तो इसमें x1 positive and x1 negative. So if you take the projection map, so projection cannot be 0 here. Right? -x1 square plus x2 square plus xn plus 1 square is equal to -1. Right? So if it is -1, x1 cannot be 0 because x2 square plus xn plus 1 square becomes your positive. So that cannot be, So therefore, x1 cannot be 0 if it is a time-like space, a time-like vector. So therefore, the projection map from TL is in R-0. It is indeed this surjective continuous map, and R-0 is disconnected, as you know. It has two components. So therefore, P1, where P1 is the first component. So this is disconnected. So the first part TL plus I'm denoting those for which x1 is greater than 0, and TL minus 1 denote the set where x1 is less than 0, and the members of TL plus are called positive time-like vectors, and these are called the negative time-like vectors. And then TL plus and TL minus are the components of TL. So indeed we have to show that these two are connected, and therefore they will become the connected components. So they are path components. Indeed, they are path connected. So that is very easy to observe. Here is the equation. You can easily see. I have then all calculate. It is sufficient. So TL plus is path connected. Let x bar y bar be members of TL plus. So x1 square is greater than 0 because minus x1 square plus x2 square plus xn plus 1 square is -1. So x1 square is greater than 0. Y1 square is also greater than 0. And x1 is greater than 0, y1 is greater than. Consequently, by Cauchy inequality, x1, y1 is greater than or equal to this, because this, is under root of this thing, under root of Cauchy inequality. That is very clear. Hence, if you take a t here, so tx plus 1 minus ty. Tx1 plus 1 minus ty1 square. You just see here. So this will simply say that this part is minus this is 1, and this is a time-like vector, and this is positive as well, because you know t is positive, and t, if light is between 0 and 1, this is positive. Tx1 1 minus tx1 ty1 is also positive, because one of them is, x1 is positive, you know. So this is positive. So this is positive. So this belongs to this. Therefore, this is indeed a convex subset of Rn plus 1. So therefore, this is path connected. So you have two path components here, TL plus and TL minus. So for doing geometry, you cannot communicate from one place to the other place for positive time-like to the negative time-like. So therefore, one has to restrict to this if you want to do some mechanics or some geometry. You cannot move from one part to the other part, right? So we restrict ourselves to this thing. So let A be O1n and X bar Y bar L is equal to, then this will be there because it is a Lorentz matrix. A map from A maps TL to TL, because if XY if xx is a time-like vector, so xx is minus 1, xx is negative, xxl is negative, which is time-like, means it is negative. So this is also negative. So that means it takes time-like vectors to time-like vectors. Ax is xx, it is negative. So that means A takes time-like vectors to time-like vectors. And again, if x bar, this is continuous. So A takes TL plus to TL plus, or it takes TL plus to TL minus. It will take connected component to connected component. And here is a connected components are these two. So it may reverse, it may just take this to this and this to that, or it may just exchange TL plus to TL minus and TL minus to TL plus. So note that identity n takes TL plus to TL plus, where J1n and whereas J1n takes TL plus to minus TL minus. You see, J1n minus 1 is in the first diagonal entry. So x1 will go to minus x1 in this case. So therefore, this will take TL plus to TL minus. This is not so good, therefore, for that purpose. So we say that A is a positive Lorentz matrix if it takes TL plus to TL plus. So that means J1L is not a positive Lorentz matrix. J1N is not a positive Lorentz matrix. Let O plus 1n denote the set of all positive Lorentz matrices. So positive Lorentz matrices. So these are responsible for the geometry kind of thing. So O plus 1n is O plus 1n which takes positive to positive, means TL plus to TL plus. So that is O1 plus n, and then you can see that this is a normal subgroup. This is a subgroup. Obviously, product also takes this thing, and it's also a normal subgroup, and normal subgroup of index 2 because it takes TL plus to TL minus. There are only two connected components. So therefore, it is a normal subgroup of index 2 here. We term this O plus 1n as positive Lorentz group. This is, so those matrices which are positive Lorentz matrices form a group, and that is called positive Lorentz group, O plus 1n we shall denote, and that is the subgroup of this thing. So SO and SO1 plus n again denote the special Lorentz group, and this is the group which is the important group. Clearly, or maybe this is also, we shall first discuss this thing. So clearly, a member A belongs to this is in this if and only if E1 with the inner product, E1A with E1 inner product. So the first coordinate E1A, E1, the Euclidean inner product is greater than 0. Is greater than 0, means x1 is greater than 0. So this simply means that the first row, first column entry of A is greater than 0. First row, first column entry is greater than 0. E1A, E1 is 0. This in turn is equivalent to the requirement that A11 is greater than 0. Thus, for SO1n plus 1, you remember cos x plus 1 plus minus. So it cannot be minus. So this is the group SO plus 1, 1. So that just as in case of SO2, you had there's a S1, the circle group, and this is the group which is the Lorentz group 1, 1. And this is important. This plays the same role in hyperbolic situation as the circle group plays in the Euclidean case. There is a close analogy you can see. So a subspace V of Rn plus 1 is termed as a time-like subspace if it contains a time-like vector. So contains a time-like vector. Not all vectors can maybe time-like, if it is time-like, then it has to be a one-dimensional space, a vector space. If all the vectors are time-like, then it will be one-dimensional space as you see here. So this is called a time-like space if at least one vector is time-like vector in that space. It is said to be space-like vector if all the non-zero members of the space-like are space-like vectors. It is said to be light-like subspace if it contains no time-like vector and contains a non-zero light-like vector. So that is the situation here. And thus Rm xi greater than or equal to 0, that is E1, E2, Em, the subspace generated by E1 to Em is a time-like because E1 is time-like. So it's a time-like subspace. V is equal to x, so that x1 is 0 is space like vector, obviously, whereas space this is a light-like space because this is 0. This is self-orthogonal, Lorentz orthogonal. So this is 0. So that is there. And this is indeed the restatement of the result which we have proved. Again, we are proving, I don't know why, how could I write here? So let x be a time-like vector, then the Lorentz orthonormal complement of this means the setup. So look at the subspace generated by x, the one-dimensional subspace generated by S, and look at its orthogonal complement. Orthogonal complement means Lorentz orthogonal complement. So I'll denote it by O here, x, this O. So those y such that this is equal to 0 is a subspace, is a space-like subspace. Why say space-like? This is a subspace clearly because y1, this is a bilinear form. So this is a subspace and it's a subspace, and we have already proved that if y is Lorentz orthogonal to a time-like vector, then that is space-like. So either it is 0 or it is space-like. So that is a space-like subspace. All the things are subspace. It's just the same thing. So for each x, now here is the thing which also I proved a little, again, let me say the proposition. For each k less than or equal to n plus 1, O plus 1 acts transitively on the set T k R n plus 1 of k dimensional time-like subspaces. You recall the analogy with the Grassmannian O(n) acts on GKN, the set of k dimensional subspaces. So there were all subspaces were similar, they were same. So that was there, but here it is time-like spaces. So O plus 1n acts transitively on the set T k R n plus 1 of k dimensional time-like subspaces. Those k dimensional subspaces which contains a time-like vector. So observe that k, this is a k dimensional time-like subspace. E1 is a time-like vector and it's a k dimensional subspace. It is sufficient, therefore, to show that for any k dimensional time-like subspace, there is a member A of O1 plus n such that A takes this Rk to that V. So therefore, it will be transitive. So if any V is image of Rk for some k, so therefore W. So you take the inverse here and you get so this is a time. This is what we mean by saying that it is acting transitively on the k dimensional subspaces. Now recall the proof of yes. So if you recall the proof here in case when On acts on the k dimensional Euclidean spaces, and the proof is really the Gram-Schmidt orthonormalization. It simply means the Gram-Schmidt orthonormalization to map Rk into a k-dimensional space. So you need an orthogonal matrix such that it takes this to this. So the same thing we are doing, and it's a Lorentz Gram-Schmidt process, and it can be done. That is what we are justifying here. So since so x1 bar, so V is a time-like k-dimensional time-like space, so it will contain a time-like vector V. It must contain because of the definition. So since since so let x1 be a time-like vector in V. So minus x1 also belongs to V because this is a vector space. No, minus x1 will also belong to V. This will not be a time-like. Minus x1 is also time-like, but it is a negative time-like vector. If x1 bar is a positive time-like vector, minus x1 will be a negative time-like vector. So anyway, this is a subspace, so minus x1 bar belongs to this. So we may assume that x1 bar is positive time-like because minus x1 also belongs to this. So embed x1 bar into a basis of V, embed and extend it further to a basis of Rn plus 1. So extend this to a basis of this, where this is a basis of V. So take R1 to be x1 bar and x1 bar, take x1 bar is a vector and it's a time-like vector. So x1 bar L is what? It is what? x1 L square is negative. So this will be purely imaginary, and we are taking the modulus of that. So that is R1 bar over the R1 x1 bar over this. Clearly, if you take the Lorentz inner product here, this will become -1 because x1 bar is minus 1 here, and this becomes 1 here. Square becomes 1 here. So this is -1. R1 bar it becomes -1 here. Also, x1 bar is equal to R1 bar. The space generated by x1 bar is the same thing as R1. It's a usual thing. There's nothing new here. I'm just borrowing the same trick here. So let us choose. वहाँ पे क्या करते थे कि V2 को लेकर के, and then we wanted to make it orthogonal to V1 and then make it a unit vector. So same thing we are doing here, but the thing is here is that x1 is not a space-like vector. So x1 bar is not 1, it's -1. So you have to change the sign accordingly. So V2 and R1 I want to make orthogonal, not Lorentz orthogonal. So V2 R1 is 0. Evidently such V2 exists, and it is given by V2 equal to this. You just write down, you solve it. V2 is equal to this and equate it to 0. Then alpha will be, you will be getting to be this thing. That is what you will be getting. And then take R2 to be equal to R2 bar to be the, and then V2 bar, this is space-like vector. So the norm is 1 again. And note that V2 is a space-like vector. We have already seen here. So thus R1 bar, R2 bar is 0 and R2 bar is 1. Similarly, V3, take V3. Similarly, take V3. So V3 में यहाँ तक तो ये ठीक है. अब इसके लिए R2 bar, you take X3 R2 bar, right? X3, if you take X3, then to become orthogonal to R1, you have to take this plus part as here, as in case of X2. You have to take this plus part, but to make it orthogonal to R2 here, or V2 here, you will take, just as in case of usual Euclidean setting, minus here, you just see, and then you see that this is equal to 0, and this is also space-like because it is orthogonal to R1 here, and V3 is space-like, and then again you take this, and then this is a Lorentz orthogonal. So proceed this similarly, proceed inductively that way, and you will be getting R1 bar, R2 bar, Rn bar, so such that R1 bar, R2 generates V. Consider the matrix A whose ith row is Ri bar, and since this forms a Lorentz orthogonal, this is a Lorentz orthonormal set of Rn plus 1. This is a matrix. This is a Lorentz matrix A belonging to O1 plus n, and already we have taken this the vector plus part here 1. So therefore, this A belongs to O plus 1 such that Rk is equal to. So this completes the proof. So therefore, you see that this important thing that O plus 1n acts transitively on the k-dimensional space. किसी भी दो k-dimensional space हो तो एक ना एक Lorentz orthogonal Lorentz matrix मिल जाएगी, such it will take one to the other. So that is this thing. And now let me come to so let X bar and Y bar be positive, maybe negative time-like vectors. Then this is this just this is the counterpart of the Cauchy inequality here. You see that is here. Further, the equality holds if and only if they are linearly dependent. Means one is the multiple of the other. In turn, you see that these are time-like vectors. Time-like vectors means XL and YL square. So what this is purely imaginary. This is purely imaginary. This is purely imaginary. This is purely imaginary. So this will be negative. This will be a negative thing. this will be negative, right? This is purely imaginary, this is purely imaginary, so square will become negative. So this is a negative quantity, this is a negative quantity. If you divide by negative quantity, the inequality will be reversed, and you will be getting this greater than or equal to 1. So that is the theorem here. So that is the kind of thing. And here you see in such a situation, you have the concept, you can talk of something like, angle, cos theta was used to be less than or equal to 1, but there is a corresponding thing cos hyperbolic, which is always greater than or equal to 1, and a unique x is there. So that, right? So here is a proof. I have written, and maybe I'll all these things I'll send. I don't know. I may you can see it very easily. But anyway, let me here. So since O plus 1 acts transitively on one-dimensional time like subspaces, it acts on any k-dimensional subspaces, and the members of O plus 1 preserves Lorentz inner product, we may assume that x bar is alpha E1, right? So x, I want to prove this result for x and y, for every x, y, and any matrix A, Lorentz orthogonal matrix O plus 1 will preserve this inner product here and the length as well. So therefore, you see that this Lorentz inner product, so it is sufficient. I can transform this x to E1, and y will also transform to something. So we need to show that this is less than or equal to this, which is for all alpha greater than 0 and y1 greater than 0. And you see that this is minus alpha on y1, and this is this, and then yl is this thing is less than 0. It is sufficient therefore to observe that this is greater than 0, and equality holds only this equal to 0, because the equality it is clear from the identity here itself. So that is very clear. So this is the identity which corresponds to the proof is also usual. You see, it's just in some way it imitates the same proof. If you are familiar with those proofs, so there's nothing very new here. You can see here, and if x and y bar, x bar and y bar, so therefore this is greater than or equal to 1, and you know that if something is greater than or equal to 1, you can always find out a x here, so that cos hyperbolic of that positive, I'm taking x to be here, so that is theta xy, so that this is equal to this. This is what is called hyperbolic angle between x and y. Tempted from the geometry on a sphere, you see, sphere is this thing. One considers the space this xl square is equal to -1. So now so this is important, you see we are normalizing the Lorentz norm. We are normalizing the Lorentz norm to -1 here. 1 actually maybe well, I have taken this to be the Lorentz approach, so it doesn't matter. Anyway, you can, okay. So one considers the space this, which is contained in time-like space. However, this is not connected as we have seen. It's a time-like vectors. There are two path components. I'm looking at the upper part of the hyperboloid. You see, if you take n equal to 2, this is a hyperboloid thing. This is a hyperboloid. Hyperboloid, two components, two parts of the hyperboloid, upper part and the lower part. Unfortunately, I have not been. It was a little tough for me to make the diagram, figure, etc. I am not that competent to do that. So otherwise, I should have given the figure also. But anyway, you can understand, you all understand. So we shall term Hn as a hyperbolic n space. So x1 is greater than 0, only upper part of the hyperboloid, in the n dimension. So that is the upper part of the hyperboloid, and is a Euclidean hyperbolic. So we shall term Hn as a hyperbolic n space, which is a model for hyperbolic geometry. As on Sn, the Euclidean angle between members on Sn defines a metric. Euclidean angle, on the sphere, you take the Euclidean angle, that becomes a metric, that gives a metric, and indeed the angle is the arc upon the radius. You have taken the unit radius, so that arc is really the radius, arc is really the angle, arc is really the angle, no, and arc is really the angle. So using that arc kind of thing on Sn, you can easily see that defines a metric, arc take 3 points, arc this, and arc you make triangles. The sum of the two sides of arc will be less than will be greater than or equal to the third arc. So that means that is a metric, the angular metric. You already know. It's very easy to prove. Simple vector algebra. So we shall see that the hyperbolic angle between the members of this also defines a metric on Hn. Though this Lorentz inner product was non-positive definite, it defines a metric here. And you see that there is a difference between the angular metric and the usual Euclidean metric on the sphere. If you move on the sphere, you have to move through this sphere, the spherical metric, this angular metric. You cannot dig a tunnel there. So that is not permissible. And the geometry of Sn is more governed by the angular metric, not the induced Euclidean metric. So this metric really captures the geometry of Sn, not the Den. This is important. So similarly here, DHn captures the geometry of Hn. How do you move on Hn? How do you move on the hyperboloid? What is the line on the hyperboloid? What is the line? The line on a sphere is the arc, greater arc, the greater circle arc. Similarly here, the hyperboloid will be the arc, as we will see. So that is the defines. So Dhn also defines a metric, as we see. So the angular metric, the hyperbolic angle. So for the purpose, we describe the Lorentz. So to prove this, we'll use a little bit of vector algebra, and the vector algebra also is very known. Already the Lorentz inner product is defined here. This is in terms of this is this. So see why I'm doing this thing, because using the fact that the Lorentz group acts transitively on the k-dimensional spaces, so it acts transitively on the 3-dimensional spaces. So any geometry between 3 points, if you want to do the trigonometry kind of thing, so you need 3 points, and 3 points will always be contained in a 3-dimensional subspace, and a 3-dimensional subspace. So those 3-dimensional subspace through a Lorentz matrix can be transformed into R3. So the whole geometry is now that of R3, that is on H2. So everything is coming from H2, not the whole region, though you can transfer to Hn here, but that is there. So already, so I'm coming to again to the usual vector algebra here. So for the purpose, we describe Lorentz vector algebra, R3. Here, Lorentz vector algebra, usual vector algebra, Lorentz vector algebra, Lorentz inner product is already here on this. For simplicity in R3, Lorentz inner product I'll denote by dot L, just as a dot as an inner product for E, and dot E will denote the Euclidean inner product, Euclidean dot product. So Euclidean inner product will be denoted by dot. Euclidean vector product class, as usual. The Lorentz vector product we also describe here, and the Lorentz vector product is just you take the usual vector product and just reflect it about the x1 equal to 0. So that is the Lorentz vector product. This I'm taking to the Lorentz vector product, and then you can see that the following identities it follows from the usual vector algebra. The identity, the equality, the relationship between the cross product and the dot product is already given here. So you can easily see that all these things are there. I have written here, and maybe these things will be sent to you, so you can see, and this will be used in proving certain thing. So for example, now if x and y bar are positive time-like vectors then x cross yl is a space-like vector. Yx cross yl is a space-like. You see, just as in case of x cross y is orthogonal to x and orthogonal to y. Similarly here, you see the identity x and bar will be a Lorentz orthogonal to x. This is Lorentz orthogonal to x, and this is also Lorentz orthogonal to y. See the identity here. See the identity here. So the Lorentz dot, if you take, you will be getting this. So that this is space-like vector. So this is a space-like vector, and this is equal to sine hyperbolic. This is related with the sine hyperbolic, and the fact is so in particular, you see, if you take both of them, you negative, you consider sine here, so then you will be see that this is equal to sine of theta xy. And for the purpose, you see that this square is dot of L, and you see the identity over there. You will be seeing just as in the vector product, A cross B dot C cross D, A cross B, the relation, you see the same relation is here, and then you see that this is equal to XL square Y square, and this cos hyperbolic square, and so therefore this is equal to sine hyperbolic. And so looking at the sine, etc., this is greater than equal to 0. This is so greater than equal to 0, and since this is a space like, taking the square root, the assertion follows. You see that that is a simple thing, and this is also follows from the same. This identity also follows the same thing. I've done here just to say that Hn Dhn is a metric space. This angular, this hyperbolic angle also defines a metric space. Right, so this also defines a metric space. So evidently DH and XY, because the Lorentz inner product is symmetric one, so therefore cos hyperbolic this thing is the cos hyperbolic this thing, XYL is YXL, so therefore cos hyperbolic this thing is cos hyperbolic this thing, and cos hyperbolic, we have taken the positive part. Cos hyperbolic, it's not an injective map. It takes x and minus x goes to the same thing. So I'm taking the positive part here. So for all xy, so this is there. And if xy is equal to this is equal to this, and therefore this is equal to minus x, x here. X equal to y, etc., and both of them are minus 1, x, y, and this is minus 1. So this means that this is equal to 0, and this is equal to 0 means they are proportional, and therefore that is, so it's the same thing. And here also, I think I'll send it to you, and it's simple vector algebra. You are competent enough, maybe more than me, to do this kind of calculations, and you can see that this is indeed a metric. The triangle inequality part is the only part which is required, and that too is because of the fact that cos hyperbolic is the monotone function. So this completes. So this is a metric. I may send it to you and you can see it. It's very easy. I don't think that I should waste time here. This thing. So the positive now this is important theorem that this group O plus 1n is indeed the group of isometries of Hn Dhn. This is the group of isometries of this. So this group determines the geometry of this. This is the group of isometries of Hn Dhn. Just as On determines the identity, the group of isometry of the Sn. So On plays a very important role in the Euclidean geometry. The same role is played over here by this group. So that is the important thing which is here. So this is the group of isometry of this, and the proof is easy. So let me explain here. This is the group of isometry. So if you take A to be A or any orthogonal matrix here, then Lorentz orthogonal matrix, then it preserves Lorentz inner product, right? So, it preserves Lorentz inner product. So therefore, if norm of XL is equal to square is -1, if you apply A on this, that is also -1, right? And this also belongs to Hn. Thus, A defines a map A cap from Hn to Hn. I'm sorry, x बार A ट्रांसपोज. तो एक्चुअली यहाँ पे हमने शायद ट्रांसपोज इसलिए लिया था कि हम जब कैलकुलेट करने लगे तो A बार को होमोमॉर्फिज्म भी बनाना चाहते हैं. तो अगर x बार A करते हैं और हमारी आदत ये है कि x बार को हम इधर लिख रहे हैं, तो वो एंटी होमोमॉर्फिज्म हो जा रहा था, राइट? एंटी होमोमॉर्फिज्म हो जाता था, इस वजह से हम इसको ए ट्रांसपोज कर लिए, और ए ओ एन में है तो ए ट्रांसपोज भी इसके अंदर है. सो देयरफॉर दिस आल्सो बिलोंग टू एच एन. सो दस ए डिफाइंस a map from HN to HN which is not x bar a. ये थोड़ा डिफरेंट है, हमने किया है ये पर्पसली, क्योंकि होमोमॉर्फिज्म एंटी होमोमॉर्फिज्म हो जाएगा अगर इधर लेफ्ट में मल्टीप्लाई किया हुआ है. तो ये आप लोग ध्यान देंगे, इस वजह से हम जब गुणा भाग करके देख रहे हैं तो ये करना पड़ रहा है. तो दिस इज द सिचुएशन हियर, एंड ए ट्रांसपोज इज आल्सो ए मेंबर ऑफ ओ और ओ प्लस 1n. ये हमने शायद पहले ऑब्जर्व किया कि ये ट्रांसपोज के अंदर क्लोज्ड है ये ग्रुप. सो दिस इज अ मेंबर here. I hope you understand it, right? So this is equal to this thing, and so therefore you see that this is equal to this for order. This means that a cap belongs to the group of isometry. It preserves the distance, right? It preserves the distance, and therefore it is in the group of isometry. So every a determines an isometry here, which is as follows. So maybe the action itself, you can say that x star act A is x into A transpose. अगर ये कर लेंगे तो आपको कोई प्रॉब्लम नहीं होगी. So we show that eta, the map eta from this given by eta is equal to a cap. A defines an isometry is an isomorphism. अगर वो लिए होते तो एंटी आइसोमॉर्फिज्म हो जाता, but that also manageable anyway. So this is this gives eta a cap. So evidently eta is a homomorphism. ये homomorphism के लिए ये हमने करना पड़ा है. So no problem. So I'm in habit of writing this. I feel comfortable. Normally लोग a x transpose लिखते हैं, कॉलम वाला लिखने उसमें हमको थोड़ी सी परेशानी होती है, तो इसलिए मैं ऐसे लिखता हूँ, तो no problem. So for all x belong to this thing. So अच्छा ये हम we show that this is an isomorphism. Evidently eta is a homomorphism. ये तो सीधे सीधे ये एक्शन की वजह से ये हो गया, ट्रांसपोज उलट जाएगा, लेकिन ट्रांसपोज बी ए बी ट्रांसपोज ए ट्रांसपोज होता है तो वो मैनेज कर लेगा. तो eta a is equal to eta b, suppose then x bar a transpose is x bar b transpose, x bar belongs to Hn. Since Hn is generated by Rn plus 1, you see Hn is the upper half, upper part of the hyperboloid, and there is no proper subspace of Rn plus 1 which contains Hn. There is no Hn से generated पूरा का पूरा सब स्पेस हो जाएगा, पूरा hyperboloid पूरा का पूरा स्पेस को प्रोजेक्ट कर दीजिए तो नीचे ग्राउंड को भी पकड़ लेता है. तो therefore that is a space which is Rn plus 1 is generated by Hn, and since on Hn they agree, so this A transpose B transpose is agrees on the whole space. So A transpose and B transpose as a matrix, they will agree. So these are the transformations. This is the multiplication by x bar, though it was defined on Hn. X bar goes to x bar A transpose for x bar belonging to it. This we can extend it to the whole of Rn plus 1, and that we denote by A transpose. That is the matrix A transpose indeed, and that is the matrix A transpose, and hence A is equal to B. A transpose is equal to B transpose, and therefore A is equal to B. So this means that eta is a monomorphism. It's a homomorphism. So it remains to show that eta is surjective. So that is something which is and is here also the trick is the same, but you have to be careful about for in the orthogonal situation, if A preserves length, if A takes Sn to Sn is an isometry of Sn, then it is an orthogonal matrix. It's a transformation. It is determined by an orthogonal matrix. If any mapping, anything is an isometry of Sn, means it takes the inner product, then that is the orthogonal transform. So same proof is here roughly. You have to be careful. So phi being isometry of Hn Dhn, so that means then Dhn phi x bar is equal to Dhn xy, and in turn minus pi x phi y l, by definition cos hyperbolic of this thing should be cos hyperbolic of this thing, right? So this is equal to this, cos hyperbolic is equal to cos hyperbolic, and cos hyperbolic of this by definition of the metric here is this, and the cos hyperbolic of this is this. So this is phi x phi y, this is equal to this, and dh is equal to dh xy. It is given here, and this by definition is this thing. So therefore it preserves the Lorentz inner product for every xy. Thus phi xy is equal to xy l for all xy Now assume now there also, if you remember proving the isometry, you assume that the isometry preserves origin. So here is E1, which is there, E1, which is the vertex of the hyperboloid, E1. So phi E1 is E1, note E1 belongs to Hn, and so let x bar belong to Hn and phi x bar be equal to y bar. Then minus y1 is what? So minus y bar is y E1, you know, the Lorentz inner product, y1, the rest is 0 here. So minus y1 is what? Is phi x phi E1. Y was your phi x bar. So phi x E1 is equal to x E1, because phi preserves the inner product here, is minus x1, right? So phi x का क्या role है? Now observe that an element of Hn is uniquely determined by this thing. अगर ये पता है तो ये फर्स्ट कोऑर्डिनेट पता चल जाता है, ये देख लीजिए. अगर Hn में है, फर्स्ट पार्ट इज पॉजिटिव, फर्स्ट कोऑर्डिनेट इज पॉजिटिव, एंड दिस इज नोन, दिस इज देयर, सो देन दिस इज नोन, बिकॉज y minus x1 square plus mod of this square is equal to minus 1. So x1 square is determined by this, and you have to take it positive, so square root, positive square root, so that is uniquely determined here, you see. So this u indeed determines the member of Hn. Any member u of Rn determines a member of Hn. So this kind of projection is really a mapping from Hn to Rn, right? You see that Hn can be viewed as a member of Rn. Every member of Rn can be viewed as a member of Hn here. Any u के लिए क्या कर लीजिए कि ये कर लीजिए 1 plus the norm u square. So this minus of this square plus norm of this square will be minus 1. So this is x1, and then the next coordinates are here. So therefore you see that this is a member. So every member of Rn can be thought of as a member of Hn. Every member of Rn here can be thought of as a member of Hn. How do you do? This is Rn is on the ground, x1 equal to 0. You just take the vertical axis and see the intersection on the hyperboloid, and that is the part of it. So therefore this is the this mapping is there, and right. So phi of this thing will be what? ये फर्स्ट कोऑर्डिनेट को चेंज नहीं करता है, तो ये तो यही रह जाएगा, और इसके ऊपर कुछ इसका एक्शन हो जाएगा. तो इसका एक्शन मान लीजिए वो साई के थ्रू हो जा रहा है. तो अब इस साई को हम कहना चाहते हैं कि ये एक्चुअली ऑर्थोगोनल ट्रांसफॉर्मेशन है. ये एक्चुअली ये बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट ऑब्जर्वेशन है. इसको हम आगे भी यूज कर सकते हैं. स्ट्रक्चर लॉरेंज ग्रुप का डिटरमिन करने के लिए हम इसको यूज कर सकते हैं. दिस इज देयर, यू सी दिस इज देयर, एंड प्रोवाइडेड इट फिक्सेस E1 here, right? So for all u belong, evidently W is an automorphism of Rn, automorphism of the vector space, which preserves length because of those conditions. And so psi is an orthogonal transformation of Rn, because of for Rn, if any thing transformation preserves automorphism of Rn, preserves length, then that is an orthogonal transformation. So therefore this is there. So therefore this matrix which you have seen here can be think the first coordinate को 1 को x1 को x1 पर ही ले जा रहा है. तो इसका मतलब क्या है? यहाँ से मल्टीप्लाई करें तो ये 1 होना चाहिए यहाँ पे, और ये ऑर्थोगोनल ट्रांसफॉर्मेशन. सो दिस मैट्रिक्स इज द ट्रांसफॉर्मेशन डिटरमिन्ड बाय दिस, वेयर ए एविडेंटली ए बिलोंग्स टू दिस. ये ए जो है, ऐसी मैट्रिक्स अगर बी ऑर्थोगोनल मैट्रिक्स है तो ये O+1n में बिलोंग करेगा. जे को लगा करके देख लीजिए, जे क्या है यहाँ पे, अगर 1 है, ये ऑर्थोगोनल ट्रांसफॉर्मेशन है, तो नीचे वाला तो आइडेंटिटी मैट्रिक्स ही रहता है, तो बी ट्रांसपोज आइडेंटिटी है, और यही सिर्फ -1 को -1 पे ले जाता है. तो देख लीजिए कि ये वही चीज है. तो ऐसा कोई भी मैट्रिक्स होगा, ये जो होगा वो O1n में होगा, इंडीड O1+n में होगा, O1+n में होगा ये. सो एंड phi x bar is x bar e for every x. दिस मीन्स दैट eta A transpose is phi. तो इसका मतलब इसी A transpose का ये phi. तो such a mapping phi is obtained, so provided it fixes E1. Finally, if phi is an isometry which may not fix E1, again we are using the same kind of trick. So by the proposition 1.3.9, there is an A belonging to this, so that phi E1 transpose is E1. What is that? That proposition was one dimensional subspace पर O+1n जो है transitively act करता है. तो ये phi E1 और E1 ये दोनों ही टाइम लाइक स्पेस है, phi आइसोमेट्री थी. तो इसका मतलब एक न एक मैट्रिक्स मिलेगी जो कि इस पे ले जाएगी, उसी को हम A ट्रांसपोज कह दे रहे हैं. वो ए नहीं करे, ए ट्रांसपोज कर रहे हैं. नाउ फाई कंपोज विद ईटा ए बिलोंग्स टू दिस, क्योंकि ये तो ऑलरेडी था, ईटा ए ऑलरेडी उसमें था, व्हिच फिक्सेस E1, एंड सो देयर इज ए मेंबर C belonging to O+1 n, so that eta C is this thing. This shows that eta is surjective. So eta is surjective. Map. So that means this is a surjective mapping. So that is the group of isometry of this thing. Now here I have just quickly tried to so this is the kind of a site. It's may not be treated as a kind of it may not be very smooth with the topic of the seminar, which is a classical groups. Lorentz group is a classical group, of course, and the study of Lorentz group is needed, and it has इसकी properties कुछ geometry से आती हैं, तो वो हम लोग देखेंगे. लेकिन ये कुछ साइड हम बता रहे हैं, and this is very इंटरेस्टिंग भी है, और ये एक इम्पोर्टेंट वो रहा है. तो इसको मैं जल्दी से आप लोगों को बताना चाहता हूँ. यू मे बी वेरी मच, आप लोग इसमें जानते भी होंगे और आप लोग सबको जानते भी होंगे, लेकिन फिर भी मैं रिपीट कर रहा हूँ. सो द पर्पस हियर ऑफ दिस साइड इज द यूक्लिड्स पैरेलल पोस्टुलेट एंड नॉन यूक्लिडियन ज्योमेट्री. ये यहाँ से कैसे ये सब आ रहा है और कैसे ये सब फॉर्मली फाइनली ये सब आया है. Okay, so parallel postulate Euclid giving, right? Parallel postulate of Euclid giving a non-Euclidean geometry. It was perhaps the first and the most beautiful demonstration of empiricism, axiomatics, and proofs of proofs. Proof का भी कैसे experiences को, कैसे empirical observations को, कैसे कुछ ऐसे अंदर से जो observation intuitions हैं, उनको कैसे एक साथ ले करके और उसने कैसे prompt किया to go to the axiomatics. The Euclid कैसे उन सबों को एक साथ लेकर के axiomatics पे गया, इसको डेवलप उसे क्या किया. नहीं, बात तो यही है और ये है, इसके वजह से सब हो रहा है. एंड these are the main important things. उसको उसने postulates के रूप में रखा, axiomatics के रूप में. So the empiricism ultimately culminating to axiomatics. Empiricism culminating to axiomatics, and then using these axiomatics, how to observe, how to deduce some more things which perhaps would have been taken as observation, but can be proved over here. So that what is the concept of proof? That is the first, and I think that was the first thing. इसके पहले शायद इस तरीके का वो नहीं हुआ है, और Euclid deserves laurel for this kind of thing. So proofs in 300 BC by Euclid in this famous 13 volumes, where he developed Euclidean geometry, through postulates, and by giving proofs of the theorems using these postulates. So let me just say, Euclid postulates ये आप सब लोग जानते ही हैं कि between any two point can be joined by a line, and कोई line को infinitely हम extend कर देते हैं, और a unique circle may be drawn from a single point, from point at the center, and any number as a radius. तो numbers को भी axiomatized के रूप में देखने की बात थी. Anyway, तो अभी ये सब चीजें बहुत deep एक तरीके से उस समय रहा होगा, but so all applaud to Euclid. So with a given point as a center with a given radius, all right angles are equal. And this fifth postulate, there was some hitch here, and I am trying to explain that part of it. If L1 and L2 are lines, and lines and a line, so here's a mistake, and a line L3 intersects L1 and L2, then L1 and L2 extended indefinitely meets on the side in which the sum of the interior angle is less than 180 degrees. So diagram बना के देखिए, जिधर वो angle थोड़ा सा right 180 डिग्री से कम होगा, उस साइड में मीट करेगा. ये एक empirically ये ऐसा लगा कि तो ये है, ये एक no physicist can verify. So the first four postulates are easy, empirically digestible. आ गया है, इंटरनेट कुछ गड़बड़ हो गया था, आ गया है.
जी आ गया।
अच्छा चलो, तो the first four postulates are easy, empirically digestible, आप ऐसे भी देख सकते थे, and of finite nature. And the fifth postulate can be further stated by saying that the sum of any two interior angles is less than 180 degree. Already proved by Euclid, इस fact को already prove कर लिया था. However, a sum of जो उसका postulate है उसमें ये एक धू है जो कि दिखाई दे रही. However, a sum of two interior angles approaches to 180 degree, the point of intersection of the opposite sides becomes of the triangle becomes farther and farther and approaches to infinity. This is of infinite nature. The postulate takes the following equivalent formulation, and the formulation is that if given a line L and a point P outside L, there is a unique line L dash passing through P, which is parallel to L in the sense that L intersection L dash is A in P. So parallel postulate was controversial and faced strong criticism among the mathematical community those days, as it was not empirically self-evident to be accepted without proof. Indeed, Euclid in his state element पहले तो इसका वो पार्ट प्रूव ही कर दिया था, लेकिन ये नहीं हुआ था. So anyway, so the parallel postulate as postulate without proof. Further, it was very rarely used to prove the proposition. So this remained, ये काफी 2000 साल तक ये रहा. जब गाउस ने एक बार 1792 में इस postulate को प्रूव करना चाहा कि यार उसी सब बचे हुए एक्सियम से क्यों नहीं इसको प्रूव किया जाए, कैसे वो लिया गया है, तो इसमें उसने देखा कि तो बड़ा गड़बड़ है, एंड ही कुड नॉट प्रूव तो नहीं किया, इसको डिनाई किया. डिनाई करने में उसने देखा कि अरे एक ज्योमेट्री तो एक और आ रही है, इसको न माने तो भी हमारे पास एक है. जैसे कि आप देखते हैं कि अगर एक्सियम ऑफ चॉइस को हम नहीं मानते हैं, एक्सियम ऑफ चॉइस इज इंडिपेंडेंट ऑफ द रेस्ट ऑफ द एक्सियम्स ऑफ सेट थ्योरी, तो एक दूसरी इंट्यूशनिस्टिक स्कूल ऑफ मैथमेटिक्स डेवलप हो जाती है, वो कॉन्ट्रडिक्टरी नहीं होती है. दैट इज नॉट कॉन्ट्रडिक्टरी. सो इट इन अदर वर्ड्स द पैरेलल पोस्टुलेट वाज नॉट कॉन्ट्रडिक्टरी. आई मीन if you don't assume it, still you get a consistent geometry. So that was discovered by Gauss. He arrived at a consistent geometry in which the sum of interior angle of a triangle is less than 180 degree. तो उस केस में तीनों पॉइंट को जोड़ें तो 180 से ज्यादा है, कम है. तो ये उसने देखा कि ये तो गड़बड़ है, और ये मतलब है, और इसको उसने पॉइंट आउट किया था अपने दोस्त को. तो ये सब चीजें जो है वो ऑलरेडी गाउस ने कर ली थी, लेकिन उसके बाद इसको फॉर्मली उसने कहीं पब्लिश नहीं किया था. तो लोबाचॉस्की और बोलियर ने इसको नॉन यूक्लिडियन ज्योमेट्री को एक दूसरे रूप में देखा, वो भी बहुत थोड़ी सी उसमें भी हिच रहा. तो dual to the spherical geometry, where the sum of the interior angle of a triangle is greater than 180 degrees. So you look into the sphere and look at the 3 points of the sphere and make the triangle, then the sum of the interior angle will be greater than 180 degree. But there is a hitch over there. You know, from 2 points, the diametrically opposite points, you have infinitely many lines passing through those. And the axiom, the first axiom was between any 2 points, there is only one line passing through those things. Anyway, so that is the. So Beltrami discovered and Felix Klein also discovered that, and but what is behind that? So I'll just take 5 minutes to the rest will also be there. So the main thing was that the concept of line, a line in a space, as per empiricism, our empiricism depends on the geometry of the space, not on the space. जैसे उन्होंने plane में देखा, plane में geometry को देखा, तो it depends on the geometry of the space, and it is a path in the space such that the distance traversed from a point on the path to another point of the path is least. So this is the kind of concept of geodesic that way. But geodesic, you know, for the Euclidean metric, SN के ऊपर जो usual Euclidean metric है, उसके respect में भी जो path greater circle का path होता है, वो भी geodesic होता है, और इसके respect में भी geodesic है. लेकिन ये geometry के respect में वो line नहीं बनेगा. क्यों नहीं बनेगा? ये actually main hitch है जो कि इसमें. So if you normalize the speed of travel to be unity, say for example the velocity of light to be the unity by algebraic thing, then the distance in this is the same as the time parameter. So therefore a non-oriented line segment in a metric space xd, किसी भी space, जिस space में हम उसको हम कहते हैं move कर रहे हैं, तो there is a concept of distance, there is a concept of moving from one point to the other point. So the metric concept वहाँ पे joining a point x and y may be taken to be the image of another isometry, sigma from a closed interval AB to x such that sigma AB is xy, चाहे sigma A x पर चला जाए, sigma चाहे इधर से जाए उधर, चाहे उधर से जाए इधर, तो हम इसको नॉन ओरिएंटेड लाइन सेगमेंट की बात कर रहे हैं, तो इसलिए हम सिग्मा ए एक्स हो, सिग्मा बी वाई हो, या सिग्मा ए वाई हो, सिग्मा बी एक्स हो, तो इसको, एंड द डिस्टेंस बिटवीन सिग्मा T1 and sigma T2 is the time. So this is the distance, the time has become the distance, and the particular dxy is the, so tau be another isometry. ये concept of line जो है बहुत important वो है, अगर टॉ कोई दूसरी आइसोमेट्री है तो जिसकी इमेज सेम है, अगर टॉ कोई दूसरी आइसोमेट्री है जिसकी इमेज वही है जो कि सिग्मा की है, तो सिग्मा टॉ इनवर्स विल बी एन आइसोमेट्री फ्रॉम CD to AB. So therefore there is some equivalence जो इसमें हमने एक्सप्लेन कर दिया है, और मैं इसको करूंगा, थोड़ा ज्यादा समय लग रहा है, तो ये कॉन्सेप्ट ऑफ लाइन, फॉर एग्जांपल ऑन द स्फीयर दिस द कॉन्सेप्ट ऑफ लाइन. तो अब ये कॉन्सेप्ट ऑफ लाइन, ये जो यूक्लिड के पोस्टुलेट थे, किस सेटिंग में बैठेंगे, इसको हम समझते हैं कि मे बी आई एम ऑलरेडी रनिंग आउट ऑफ टाइम, तो थोड़ा सा ठीक से इसको बताएंगे. ये बहुत ही वैसी चीज है जो कि खास करके फिजिक्स में तो बहुत लोगों ने वही किया है, लेकिन ये है कि कैसे ये स्फेरिकल स्पेस में कैसे ये और हाइपरबोलिक सेटिंग में हाइपरबोलॉइड कैसे इसके लिए एक मॉडल देता है, एंड दैट इज द मोस्ट जेन्युइन मॉडल, बिकॉज ऑफ यू नो, इफ यू वांट टू हैव सर्टेन ऑब्जर्वेशंस, the communication, the means of communication, that is the light, is a finite, the speed is finite, so you cannot verify that. So that is why this geometry is more suitable for anyway. So हम थोड़ा सा इसको बाद में फिर हम करेंगे, क्योंकि अब समय शायद खत्म हो रहा है, बहुत ज्यादा समय मैं दे चुका हूँ, तो खैर इसको थोड़ा फिर नेक्स्ट टाइम फिर मैं इसको वो करूंगा. और ये मैं जो कर रहा हूँ, मैं आप लोगों को भिजवा दूंगा, क्योंकि मुझे थोड़ा टाइम मिला तो मैंने लिखा. मैं सोच रहा था कि मैं करता चला जाता हूँ, कभी कुछ चीजें वहीं इमीडिएटली कई चीज दिमाग में आ जाती तो इधर का उधर कर देता हूँ, तो अब सामने आप लोग रहते नहीं, इसलिए जो है मामला गड़बड़ा जाता है. तो ठीक है, तो मैं ओके. सो क्योंकि अब इसको थोड़ा सा लाइन के कॉन्सेप्ट को और अच्छी तरीके से उस सेटिंग में बता दें, क्योंकि जल्दी में करेंगे तो शायद इतना भी फिर गड़बड़ा जाएगा मामला. और ये हम देखेंगे कैसे ये बनता चला जा रहा है और कैसे बड़ा नेचुरल डेवलपमेंट रहा है. और इसके बाद फिर हम उसमें इसके जो प्रिंसिपल एक्सिस थ्योरम है जो ऑर्थोगोनल स्पेस के, तो इसके कॉन्जुगेसी क्लासेस भी डिस्क्राइब करें. कॉन्जुगेसी क्लासेस व्हिच आल्सो हैज ज्योमेट्रिक नेचर. कॉन्जुगेसी क्लासेस ऑफ द लॉरेंट ग्रुप, जैसे ऑर्थोगोनल ग्रुप में क्या था, ज्योमेट्री ऑफ ऑर्थोगोनल ट्रांसफॉर्मेशंस आपने देखा था, तो इसके करस्पॉन्डिंग ये यहाँ भी करेंगे. तो चलिए खैर ये, सो थैंक यू. कुछ और बात करना है आप लोगों को? वन वे ट्रैफिक हुआ था, ज्यादातर मैं ही बोलता रह जाता हूँ.
थैंक यू सर फॉर सच ए नाइस लेक्चर. और किसी को कुछ पूछना है तो पूछ सकता है.